So I want to talk to you today about something that I know can be really challenging, and it's triggers and the recovery process. When we're triggered, it's like this surge of intense emotion, and it can leave us feeling overwhelmed and just become all-consuming. But here's the thing. A trigger is just an emotional charge. It's not who we are. And I like to use this analogy with my clients to help them understand this. Now, what if I called you a door or an apple tree? Would that trigger you? Of course not. Because you know deep down inside that you're neither one of those things. So if someone has triggered you, it's important to take a step back and examine what's going on. Why is that emotional charge pulling on you? And then you can also ask yourself, what do I need to believe about myself for that trigger to be true? Then ask, is it true? These questions can help you start to understand the deeper beliefs and the programming that have been installed into your psyche. And here's the really important part. Through awareness, we can create choice. Through choice, we can disarm those original triggers, those messages that were written into our psyche by someone else that wasn't true. And chances are those triggers were originally put there by someone who's probably struggling with their own feelings, and they just ended up projecting them onto you. They were feeling those things about themselves, and they didn't know how to process it, so they gave them to you to process. And in return, you took them, and you believed that some part of that was true. And the reality is, it wasn't true. It wasn't true back then, and it's still not true today. So the learning here becomes when someone triggers us in the present, it can set off a trauma from the past. But we can separate the present from the past. And just because someone made us believe something about ourselves in the past doesn't mean it was true back then, and it means it's also not true now. So that's when we can start to see why even that word, the word trigger, it's like almost like the trigger of a gun. And if we look at that analogy, there's a really small motion, a tiny motion that can cause a big explosion. And after the explosion, there's really not much else that we can do. But if we disarm the trigger, it's just this. It's really small. And once we learn how to disarm our own triggers, we also learn that they're not who we are. And we dismantle it by giving ourselves awareness and choice. And then we can have a choice. We decide how we want to act and how we want to react. And that could also mean not acting and not reacting. If you're struggling with triggers and feel like you need more support, I'm here for you. You can find more information and more resources on my Facebook page, my Instagram feed, YouTube, and even TikTok. And if you feel that you want one-on-one support, you can book an appointment with me on narcovery.com. And together we can work through the triggers and help you find healing and peace.